tape there with you? I'm going to stick it on the wall outside. Yeah, that's good.
Thanks very much. I hope everybody outside can hear as well. Such a pleasing sight to see so many interested people in relation to this event that is currently unfolding. My name's Mark Williams. I'm the Incident Controller for the Rural Fire Service and the Section 44 declaration of the fire emergency that's currently underway within the Shoalhaven and Eurobodalla areas. With me today, I have members of my incident management team in the form of Deputy Incident Controller Ian Smith from National Parks and Wildlife. I've also got from the Emergency Operations Room and the Incident Management Team, Inspector Ray Steins, who's the Nowra Station Officer, and also Todd Kremer, your new local Senior Constable for Kangaroo Valley. With me also is members of With us also here today are members of your local Rural Fire Brigade from Kangaroo Valley, who are not out on the truck today but staying home locally here to be present today, but also provide the protection that they always do 365 days of the year. So thanks, guys. Also today I also have some other members from the support agencies, local land services and some other agencies here to assist and to answer your questions one-on-one post the actual briefing that I'll give today. With me also is Bill Patterson, a Public Liaison Officer. He's part of the Incident Management team and goes a long way in actually getting these updates out to members of the public on the fires near me and also arranging these community meetings. So into the actual event that we're currently holding, or not holding, dealing with, is back on the 26th of September, the Kangaroo Fire started as a result of a lightning strike around the Kangaroo Creek area, well south of Nowra, down and probably inland from the Turmill area in general terms. That fire quickly took hold. What we have around the state, as everybody is acutely aware, is severe drought conditions. Those conditions have been exacerbated over a number of years, but culminating this year in a severe lack of rainfall, and that's put a huge amount of stress on the local environments and vegetation. Personally speaking, I'm sure you can all attest, the changes to the local environment that we've seen only in the last 2 weeks is seeing significant amount of tree fall and leaf fall and vegetation stress, which is just showing how volatile the fuel levels are in and around the vegetated areas where this fire is consuming. The Kangaroo fire is currently sitting at 136,000 hectares. It's, as I said, been going for just over a month now, and despite every attempt by all the agencies involved in this firefight, it's been impossible to contain. What I must say, however, is the amount of work that's gone in by all the firefighting agencies, not only the Rural Fire Service, but all of our sister agencies, Fire Rescue, National Parks and Wildlife, State Forest, as well as being supported by other agencies in and around the state, and also external to the state, nationally, as far as Victoria, Western Australia, also Northern Territory, Tasmania, and also New Zealand. Locally, we also have the benefit of having specialist skills. A number of 8 people come over from America and Canada to assist in the incident management team and specialist skills such as planning and aviation supervision and management. So it is truly an international event. It is truly an unbelievable conglomeration of different people from different walks of life, from all different agencies, both through the incident management team itself and also through the support agencies. They're coming together and supporting the local communities that this fire is impacting. One of the big things to point out in that is the fact that regardless of which agency, where people are coming from, it is purely a badge-off scenario. And what I mean by that is everybody has come together. They're not bringing with them any personal agendas or company agendas or organisational agendas, but everybody is proudly working together seamlessly in support of each other. The amount of support that we've had from the local community and all the organisations within the community has just been second to none. The amount of support that the fire services themselves have received out on the fireground is also second to none. It is really pleasing as incident management or incident controller that I can stand up here and say it is truly a unified team that is leading this event, as well as the guys and gals out on the fireground combating the fire itself. So into the actual incident that we're dealing with. The Kangaroo fire over a number of weeks has seen the general progression of the fire to the south and to the north, and under trying circumstances, fire weather conditions that we've experienced on numerous occasions has seen that fire run across to the east coast and impact severely onto the coastal villages from Durras through to and including Lake Tabourie. From that point onwards, whilst it's continued inland to progress in the northerly direction, crews have managed to contain the fire generally to the west of the Princes Highway. There has been 1 or 2 slopovers of fire onto the east, but they've been wrapped up well by firefighters, and that continues as we speak today with a large number of firefighting effort containing that fire to the west of the Princess Highway and conducting significant backburning operations over a 15-kilometre stretch. The weather conditions that we're expecting to see over the next 4 days is more of what we've currently got today. but worsening generally over the next 3 days. Culminating on Monday, where we will see significant fire behaviour occurring. We're expecting to see upwards of 38, possibly into the 40-degree temperatures out and around the area, followed by on Tuesday a strong southerly change. For anybody that can remember last week, the Saturday, we had significant catastrophic weather conditions on that day, and that saw a fire, or the fire, not only combined with a 2-inch fire, which was also burning in the area, but culminating in a pyrocumulus fire condition, which is a dry thunderstorm sitting above the fire itself. That pyrocumulus firestorm can generate and does generate its own lightning activity, which can also start fires if it's not associated with any rainfall, but it also creates erratic winds, speeds and directions out on the fire ground, making the firefighting effort even more treacherous than what it already is. The fire itself, as it's been progressing up, as I said, we've also had the Commandant fire. The Commandant fire currently sits to the southeast of Nowra, due east of the Albatross airfield. It's sitting at 2,500 hectares, and it continues to burn internally. We do have a containment line hard around that fire. However, given the topography, the vegetation and the dryness of the area, it continues to drop spot fires outside that line, and it's also burning within peat. Anybody who's had anything to do with fire over the years in peat will know that peat burns very hot, it burns under the ground, and it pops its head up under its root systems, and it can come up to 20 to 50 metres away from where it actually went underground. So it's very difficult for firefighting activities. It's something that we're continuing to monitor and to attend to. We're using aviation assets as well as on ground, but it is another significant drain on the resources which are already stretched to attend and continue to monitor fire. The firefighting in the north continues with the fire raining slowly against northwesterly winds that we currently have towards the Shoalhaven River. At this point in time, as far as I can estimate, it is about 5 kilometres to the south of the Shoalhaven River, but it is likely that that fire will approach the Shoalhaven River and may cross at any time. I'd love to be able to stand up here and tell you exactly when that's going to occur or if it's going to occur, but there is just so many variables to actually dictate how and when that occurs that it is impossible for me to do so. We do have fire behaviour analysts constantly analysing the weather conditions, assessing the estimated duration, the fire paths and the lake that this fire is likely to go to. But as I said, with so many variables, with wind streaks changing, with cooler conditions overnight, with vegetation changes in and around the fire ground, it's unknown exactly when the fire will get to the dam and the river and if it will cross. If circumstances align, it is possible that that river may well hold as a containment line, and we are attempting to use that as a containment line. However, one of the big issues with firefighting in these conditions is spot fire activity. We have seen during this event spot fires occurring up to 12 kilometres in front of the fire front. That alone tells you that already that fire, if those conditions exist, that fire could be spotting across the dam. So we're watching that intently, and we'll be dealing with those as soon as they occur, if they occur. So what does that mean? That means that everybody in this community and every community north of the Shoalhaven River, right through including the Kangaroo Valley area and all the outskirts, needs to be increasingly aware of the situation at hand and be aware that it is impossible for firefighters to get the upper hand and containment on this fire line. We will continue to work on the containment strategies we have, including backburning operations where suitable, but in doing that we're also very mindful by lighting fires in front of a fire, we can advance the fire. So it has got to be done under very, very strict conditions, it's got to be done under the right weather conditions, and we will only be implementing those as we speak. We're actually currently doing that along Main Road 92 in an effort to keep the fire to the west of the South Nowra area. Further to that, the need for everybody to be vigilant also comes to the fact that everybody needs to be prepared. As I said, it is highly likely that this fire will cross to the northern side of the Shoalhaven. In that, the fire path itself will lead its way up and through Kangaroo Valley and even further northwards up into the Buttery Plateau and through up to Fitzroy Falls. Any resident that is around any sort of vegetated community, whether it's conducive and consistent with the actual bushland interface, or even a separate area, vegetated area, needs to have a bushfire plan in place and know what you are going to do in the event that you will be affected by this fire front. Choosing to stay and defend your property is a significant one to make. For those of you who have ever been through a fire front, especially one of this magnitude, it is a harrowing event to deal with. It is not something easy and not something to take on board lightly. Your property must be prepared. We know that, we keep imploring that on you to have that plan in place, to self-protect yourself, to have your gutters clean, to remove fuel around from your house and the likes of that. What isn't able to be told to you is just how mentally prepared you must be yourselves to undertake that firefight. It is a potentially devastating thing to go through. It turns day into night. The extreme heat, the extreme noise, the difficulty in breathing because of the smoke, you have to be physically and mentally prepared to be able to undertake that before you choose to stay and defend your property. The best opportunity that you have and the best advice I can provide anybody who is even asking themselves the question is if you are in doubt, if you're questioning yourselves, your best option is to leave and leave early. The absolute last thing we want as an emergency service, whether it be the RFS or any of the emergency services, is to have anybody on the road at the point of the fire actually impacting. More deaths occur around the world from people trying to escape fire in vehicles and the likes. As I said, day turns into night, trees come across roads, traffic accidents happen, you can't turn around because the fire front's behind you. We end up having people dying or severely injured from that sort of activity. So again, leaving early is the best and the highest regarded option for anybody that's not prepared. On the south side of the fire, we actually have the fire that's crossed the Kings Highway. That fire continues to burn, and under the conditions that we're receiving today with that northwesterly wind, is pushing that fire down around the back end of Nelligan again. You will notice on the fires being made up today that alert warning has raised back up to watch and act, and that is specifically for that area of the fire. That area around Bateman's Bay and all points south down to Mogo and Marulan could come under impact in the current weather conditions over the next few days. So again, additional resources are being poured into the area and crews are currently working in that area as much as possible, given the topography and nature, to try and bring that fire not under control, but to slow its progress. As I said before, we're using aviation assets on this fire and have been from the start. We're using the large air tankers that many would have seen around the area, many fixed-wing aircraft as well as helicopters, and we are very, very well supported by the local defence, being HMAS Albatross. We have a fully scaled-up air base operating up at that base, and they're supporting us with not only the use of the base, but manpower and actually equipping the base and reloading of those aircraft. So for that, I'm much appreciated. So, where to from here? What we're looking at, as I said, is the possibility and the likelihood of this fire crossing the river and moving up and around this area. The Rural Fire Service has the alert warnings that we move through the area. We will give everybody as much notice as practically possible of any movement of the fire in and around this area. However, it shouldn't be your only means of staying abreast of the situation. I implore on everybody to ensure that you have backup plans as part of your bushfire survival plan, transistor radios, tuning into ABC Illawarra and other local radio stations, and listening to the advice and the break-ins that occur from time to time as watch and act statuses increase and emergency warnings are issued. Wherever possible, we will try and give as much notice to allow people to get out and give you the advice that if you are unprepared and you are preparing to leave, that now is the time to do so. However, please, again, do not rely on that. It is not always possible. A spot fire can occur, take hold very, very quickly, and the first message you get may be to shelter in place. What I do ask is when those messages go out, and it's been very, very pleasing across this entire emergency event, is that people adhere to that advice. We do not issue that advice lightly, but as I said before, we don't want people on the road at the time of any fire impacting of such nature. If we say it's shelter in place, it means shelter in place. It is your safest option to be, despite your own plans in that area. What I'll do now is that basically wraps up my overview of where the fire is and where it is running to. What I'll do is open it up to questions around the room now and take any of those on board. If you have your own specific issues that you wish to discuss, members of the team will stand by after the meeting and take those questions on one-on-one. But if there's any general ones that you wish to have answered, please feel free to ask those now.
What time do you think the power will be cut?
Okay, so in relation to power cuts, we do not cut the power off. Power is only ever cut when a system infrastructure is down because of the fire or the likes of that. So if a tree falls across the power line and that system goes down, that is the only time it will be cut. We have, as part of the Emergency Operations Centre, liaison officers from all the power companies on board. They do have extra infrastructure in place on hand to be able to deal with any such matters of burned infrastructure or affected infrastructure, but they can't go back in until that fire path has gone through and we declare it safe for them to go through. So power may be off for a number of hours, a number of days in bad situations, but again, we do not cut the power off in the lead up to any sort of fire.
Just in terms of leaving the valley, have you got any comments on routes out, and in particular the fire that's burning along the Kangaroo Highway, what that's likely to do?
Yes, certainly. The question was in relation to where and how to leave the valley, should you choose to do so. Again, leaving early is the best option. Planning your route out is also imperative. With the valley, you do have the two roadways, one out to the east, one out to the west. As for local road closures, they'll be announced on the RMS website and also Council's website, and we will try and keep them up to date on our fires near me up as much as possible. Please be aware that roads close at very short notice. The Princess Highways had to be closed on numerous occasions. We've had people stuck at those for numerous days at times. We've also got the Kings Highway down to the south closed, and that highway is due now to be closed for upwards of a month because of the damage the fire has caused to the roadway and the embankments and the destabilisation of the aprons of that fire. In relation to the valley specifically and to the fire up and around the Hume, again, that's not in my span of control, but again, apps such as the fires near me, RMS website will tell you whether the highway is open or closed. And again, adhering to the advice from firefighters and other emergency services on the ground is imperative. Yeah.
When you say, if it comes to the fact that there's no time to go, and you say shelter in place, is there set up places for people to go where they know there's a safe place? Is there somewhere like, if you feel like you've got nowhere to go, where would you go?
Yeah, certainly. So the best option again is to have your own bushfire survival plan and have that plan now. So asking the question now is the appropriate time. In relation to your own personal event, that depends on where you reside and where you're located. In areas where we do have people that are going to be affected by fire, we will set up evacuation centres. We have, during this fire, had those set up from time to time, Ulladulla, Bateman's Bay and the like, and they'll be announced as and when they're required and as they open up. Within the valley and within other areas within the Shoalhaven, we also have neighbourhood safer places. Those safer places are, you'll also see the terminology written on those signposts. It is a place of last resort. It is the place you can go to if your own bushfire survival plan goes awry, you are stuck in between where you wanted to go and needed to be in an emergency situation. It is a place where you can go, where you can have some hope of being able to survive a firestorm event. It is not somewhere where there's going to be a coffee truck or a Mr. Whippy van. Needless to say, it is also a place that may not even have a fire truck around. We will try and obviously get fire trucks to where the impending fire is going to be, and we will do everything we practically can. But those neighbourhood safer places will give you some form of clearing around you to allow you as best protection as possible in a natural clearing to actually survive the fire front if you get stuck.
How much notice in general is a watch and act before the fire hits?
Okay, the question is in relation to watch and act and at what stage do we put those on. For instance, today, as soon as we got increased fire activity down the south, where it looked like the fire could impact on a locality or a conglomerate of houses around the area, we considered and raised that alert level to watch and act. We're fully aware, people are aware of this fire now. It sits at advice level the majority of the time. When it goes to watch and act, it's again a high precursor for you to start paying more and more vigilant attention to the fact that that fire is probably on the move, and to read those major fire updates to see where it's moving to and if it's likely to affect your location. As for the timings, again, we will give as much practical notice as we can, but again, if it's a spot fire activity that's occurring close to a locality, that may only be a matter of minutes or 10, 15 minutes tops. We will try and give hours notice where possible, but that's not always possible.
Are you able to comment on whether we should expect the mobile network to go down?
In relation to mobile communications, I can't communicate. I can't talk to that because I'm not a communications expert, but we do know of the localities where the repeater sites are, the tower communications. We have, through the Emergency Operations Committee, implored on the telco authorities to ensure that their repeater sites and their infrastructure is well protected with asset protection zones, and to advise us in any cases where that's not occurring. For instance, exactly in the Batemans Bay area as we speak, there is a tower facility down there that has its own protection area, but we are increasing the protection by laying retardant lines around that in an effort to provide it more protection. However, in firestorm activity, the fact that these telecommunication sites most generally sit on the top of a ridgeline, they are open to fire impact, so it is possible that they may go down at any time. So again, not relying on technology and talking amongst yourselves, having your backup plans, transistor radios that are operated by battery or wind-up are all good measures to ensure that you've got backup facilities should the telecommunications and modern technology fails.
How wide is the fire front that's approaching us?
At this present time, the width of the fire I'd have to actually measure, I would say in the vicinity of upwards of 15 to 20 kilometres wide in parts. We are attempting to steer that fire down to a point, so our current backburning operations at the moment, up around Main Road 92, Albatross Road, is to try and steer that fire down along the Burrier Road on the south side of the river and down to a point of Burrier. That will actually bring that fire into more of a needle shape, and hopefully, combined with hopefully favourable weather conditions overnight in the next coming nights, and the northwesterly wind, we can hold that fire to the south of the river.
Should watch and act occur at 2 o'clock in the morning, what provisions are there for that?
That will occur at any stage. So again, having that system in place, not relying on that watch and act, because yes, people need to sleep, we understand that, but we will address and we will change that. We're a 24/7 operation, and that can change at any point in time. Over Monday night and into Tuesday, we can expect those northwesterly winds to continue right through the evening. There is going to be a hot spell right through that evening, and it's not until the southerly change comes through late on Tuesday that the wind direction will change, and we'll get some abatement from the heat of that day. So again, it is possible in other parts of the fire. Unlikely to be the progress of the fires over the Shoalhaven with the northwesterly conditions. However, fluky wind conditions, higher cumulus cloud formations, there are so many variables that people still need to be aware and still monitor conditions wherever possible. We do have other options that we will consider if absolutely necessary, being the use of the SEWS, which is the emergency warning system across broadcast channels, but again that will rely on people having TVs, radios on and the likes of that to be announced. There's one at the back.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Terry Morrissey, I'm a local. I'm just wondering how many aircraft will be used to bring this fire under control. I'm thinking of bombers and Hercules fitted with the big tanks, and also a couple of Elvises. Are they coming down?
Okay, in relation to aviation, as previously mentioned, we have been using aviation from within the first hour of this event. Within the first half an hour, we had our first helicopter on that fire. At the height of the fire, we've had up to 25 aircraft. Currently, we have 3 of the fixed-wing bombers with floats, being the small single-engine air tankers, assisted by 3 other single-engine air tankers which need to land on the runway and get refilled. We've got the use of the large air tankers we've had at any point in time during the fire, 3 of those plus the very large air tanker which carries 45,000 litres of retardant at any time. We have to share these resources with all the other events that are happening through New South Wales, and it is determined on priority, threat to life and property as to how they're disseminated. I can assure you that at this point in time, given the fire that's on the landscape in New South Wales, It is impossible to contain these fires given the current landscape that we have and the amount of fire in the environment, regardless of the number of aircraft. We are using these aircraft as a tool. We use it in conjunction with our firefighting equipment on the ground, as well as other measures such as backburning, as I said, to try and steer this fire around the community rather than actually attack the fire. You will see over the next 2 days, the firefighters will withdraw from tactical and backburning operations due to the threat and increased threat of property being impacted, and they will withdraw back into defensive firefighting around structures that are going to come under impact of the fire, as well as advising the community as much in advance as possible of the fire coming into their area.
On the fires near me, it says the fire is 84 kilometres away. That can't give us a few kilometres from the Shoalhaven, that can't be possible. Is that by the road fire or by car?
Okay, so I'll have to have a look at that specifically with you. I don't know the exact answer to that, but to assume, I would say that would be from where the point of origin of that fire was to your general location now, not from the northernmost point. Another question on the way.
Now, as a full-time resident here in Kangaroo Valley, I'm aware that our local brigades have 1 or 2 trucks out of the valley most days. I'd like to hear from the local guys in terms of what the plan is for the forecast days that we're expecting in terms of...
Yeah, certainly I can answer that question for you anyway as the local incident controller and district manager. Yes, we've been using every brigade within the district as well as all the outside support that we've had. We're acutely aware and much appreciated to all the members of the local brigades to provide that assistance to other areas within the district to combat this fire. It's also going to be the same that people from other brigades from around the district are going to pour into the Kangaroo Valley area to assist you guys should and when the fire impacts in this area. We will not rob the Kangaroo Valley of every appliance in the area. We will always maintain the ability for these guys and gals to be able to respond to any incidents in the area. We've also made it a mandatory requirement throughout the fire. As any fire approaches the local brigade area, those resources will be returned to their brigade areas for use in that area so that they know their area and support their local community.
When you say shelter in place, which is a safe place to be in a large shed or in your national home?
Yeah, certainly. So the question is in general, where's the safest place to be within your own residence if you need to shelter in place? There is many forms of what you can do in your own residence, and without actually having the details of everybody's specific residence, it's something you need to assess yourselves. The stuff like having your bath full of water, your gutters full of water, the combustible materials removed from around your house, the leaves out of your gutters, sprinkler systems, lawns kept mowed and green as possible. All those sort of things can aid you in having I know there's council water restrictions. So in relation to that, again, in self-protection of your own properties and preparation, all those things go a long way to protecting yourself. Within the house yourself, if you are going to be stuck there and you do have to shelter in place, having wet blankets, under doors, all the cracks and around your windows and all that sort of stuff. As I said, having your bath full of water and then staying well inside the house. A house will generally provide you protection of a fire front coming through. A fire front you will hear coming through, it'll be dirty, it'll be dark, it'll be hot, it'll be noisy, it's disgusting. But you will hear the fire front move through. Once that's through, it's then time that you can go outside and do a bit of extra self-protection and put out any spot fires that may be around. But again, you need to be prepared. If you're choosing to be prepared and stay there, you need to be ready for that. However, if you get stuck and shelter in place, you also need to have that plan as part of your own bushfire survival plan.
So,
In the current fire situation, the worst case scenario, how long do you expect it might be before we see something in this area?
Worst case scenario, as I said, with 12 kilometre spotting potential. If we had that southerly wind through, it could be a matter of 5 to 6 hours before something was in around the back doorstep of the dam area and then moving up and through the area. Again, spot fires can occur. They can take hold very quickly on the right topography. They can then send spot fires further ahead of that. It's impossible for me to actually give you a time duration of it, and that's why we're out here today to implore on you all right here, right now. Now is the time to prepare.
so So do you mean right now we put the things in the gutters, and right now we put the water in the gutters?
Right now.
Yes. Okay. We'll take a couple more.
We're the managers of the holiday parks in Ridge. When do you recommend holiday makers to leave?
A very difficult question. Obviously, as a Shoalhaven resident myself, and obviously we know that tourism forms a major part of the Shoalhaven community. However, as I've been saying on the radio for the last 2 weeks, and as Ray behind me has also been imploring on caravan park owners and tourism operators around the district, everybody has a duty of care for the people under their supervision and their care and their courage as an operator. To me personally, regardless of how much money I've spent on my holiday, would I like a holiday in an area where I'm possibly going to be evacuated and I'm being warned that it is likely that a fire is going to come through? I think I've answered my own question. My understanding would be, if I had a caravan park in and around the Shoalhaven, I'd certainly feel that I needed to advise my patrons to very carefully consider their options with a view to staying at home and staying well and truly out of the area. And I'll leave it at that.
Would there be any chance on this fires near us of showing where the possible wind direction is at that time when you're showing it, and maybe to highlight the actual fire frontage? That to me as an engineer tells me that's all burnt out, but it's not telling me where the actual flame is now.
Yes, certainly. So in relation to the mapping on the fires near Mio, that is uploaded as soon as we possibly can, as soon as we get the information at hand. That information at hand comes in many forms. Often it comes from what we call a line scan, which is submitted. It's an infrared picture that's taken from an aircraft flown out of H&A's Albatross, which takes an infrared picture and sends that back, live footage back into the control centre. We've got mappers on hand 24/7 who upload that information for not only our firefighting opportunities, but through to fires near me. So the outline of that print at any time is the most up-to-date map that we can potentially put out to you at any time. At times we don't get those line scans, and there's many reasons for that. The other fire activity around the state, but also right through to cloud cover over fires. That can prevent those images being taken, in which case we then also rely on the information we get back from the firefighters out on the ground. That can take time to interpret and put onto a plan, but again, as soon as we get that on the plan, as soon as that's uploaded into our system, it's also populating directly that fires near me app.
Potentially 2 questions. The next few days, if something was to go awry in the wrong direction, is there an option that we could put a pump down to the bottom of the river and save the bridge?
Okay, in relation to the Hampton Bridge, we do have, through the Emergency Operations Centre, Roads and Maritime Services are one of the liaison officers within there, also the council. They have been brought up to speed with the possible impact of fire in and around the community, and they've been specifically requested in relation to the Hampton Bridge what measures they have in place to protect that bridge. I'm also acutely aware as the Instant Controller of the fact that the bridge is a vital link to the area, its heritage nature, and also its construction standards. So where possible, we will have the ability of having somebody down there, crews down there, to provide that protection. To say that, we also have countermeasures in place, and right through to the use of the military should any of the bridges within the district fail or be burnt through, not just the Hampton Bridge. We do have countermeasures in place where we can engage council, we can engage other contractors, even right through to the military to deploy Bailey bridges to get people's access back to their areas as soon as they can do so, done immediately.
The second question, potentially in the next couple of days, if there was a fire to come through, would there be a stop traffic on both of the mountains?
In relation to traffic control, again, roads will be closed as and when needed. That will be determined from everybody from the police on the roadway, gauging the level of traffic that is actually on the roadway at the time, through to smoke impact on the road, through to fire impact on the road. Yes, that will be assessed and constantly assessed, and those roadways may be closed at any point in time. What some people may have seen recently is that we actually issued a shelter-in-place warning for people within Sussex Inlet. Sussex Inlet was not in the fire path at the time, but because of their exit route back out onto the Princess Highway was cut by the fire, they were asked to shelter in place because we didn't want everybody congregating at that point in time. It is possible what you might see around the area is one way or both areas of the main access way through here closed due to fire impact or any of those other reasons. So therefore it may well be a shelter in place within your local community because of that reason and not so much because of fire impact itself.
Are the safe places announced as the fire progresses?
Neighbourhood safer places are designated areas that we've already pre-identified throughout the community. More information on those is available through our website, and not just for the Kangaroo Valley area, but all other areas within the fire path, and we can provide those one-on-one with you after the meeting if you like. Up the back, sorry. Sorry, please, if we can just have one at a time.
If you decide to leave, when do you know when it's safe to come back?
Yeah, so that is one of the $6 million question, when is it safe to return? It is something we're consistently assessing and we'll try and advise. The problem with that is if we say generally it's safe to return, we have to be specific in relation to what streets, what roads, what areas to occur. So again, that information will come out by firefighters on the ground through the fires near me and the updates as much as we can at the time, and we will get people back to their home bases as soon as practically possible.
Can you just tell us, obviously, because of the situation now, we've got fires coming in from the top, we've got fires coming in from the bottom, and fires coming in from the other side. Where do you say we need to go? Up and go. Where do we go? Because there isn't anywhere really safe to go to anymore.
Okay, so the question is in relation to the other fires in the area and where people should go if they choose to leave. Again, individual fire safety plans and bushfire survival plans are your responsibility as people yourselves. Knowing where you're going is talking with your family, talking with your friends, knowing people on coastal areas where there is no fires around, looking in urban population centres, shopping centres, big town centres, big city centres, the likes of that, all those things can be considered. And again, if you're going to leave early while the path is clear and before you get impacted. There are fires around the rest of the state, we know that. We've got the green model fire to the northwest of us. It is of a concern, it is still a going fire, it is still not contained. It does have the potential to move across this way, but at this point in time, it offers no threat to this general area. Okay, just one more and then we'll break into one-on-ones if need be, but thank you very much for your attention so far.
If we find a shelter in place, the conditions turn catastrophic and the fire is approaching, do you guys consider it a hindrance for us to be here? Or is it, like, should we at that point just go, let's just go, if it's safe to do so?
Again, go before that gets to that point. Prior to the event, leave early is the option. If you wait until the shelter in place is going, that is shelter in place, and that's what we expect is anybody around that area is going to have that. Obviously, wherever there's life involved in and around a property, our crews will continue to work and protect not only your property but yourselves as the high priority. In relation to your properties as well, firefighters are trained and they will be around the area and they will, wherever a fire is going to impact, they will assess your property for a survivability rate, they will assess your property for such things as usable tank water and the likes, and they will use that as need be. What I also have today here with us is support services, and any person that ends up being affected by this fire, whether be it from livestock through to your own property, through to be out of sorts if your property is actually impacted, there are numerous and many support services that are available to you. Those will be permanently set up in evacuation centres should we need to, but again we have that ability this afternoon. We have numerous handouts and support people here to talk to you should you worry about any of that. Okay, very last one. Okay, so the question is how can you assist firefighters and let you know what water is around? Firefighters, as I said, are trained to look around your property when they arrive on scene. They will do an assessment, they will look for that sort of stuff. If you're present, by all means, show them around and advise them what you've got and any specific firefighting apparatus you may well have on your own properties. So that is part of the assessments. Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you all very much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I don't like to be the bearer of bad news, but seriously, we need to be prepared now. The more you are prepared now, the more you are going to be safe should and when this impact occurs. So thank you very much for your attention again this afternoon.